Hi, my name is Maddie Buckley, and I'm a freshman at UCSB. I was recently tasked to find and develop on the term media literacy and how it pertains to young voting age adults. Media literacy is the ability to analyze media messages, as well as distinguish between truthful, biased, and leading rhetoric choices writers might use through media devices. Media literacy is a term that is discussed by many writing studies scholars, and in particular, peer-reviewed authors Robin Blum, Jim Kuipers, Shahira Fahmy, Stephen Brookfield, and Matthew Overstreet. All work to analyze and define media literacy or techniques media authors use to sway listeners. With the upcoming election, all voters should be questioning how up-to-date their own media literacy skills are in order to discern between truthful and falsified information. With this in mind, how are all of these articles talking about the same thing but have completely different messages? This is something you should ask yourself each time you stumble across a media news story, especially surrounding the upcoming election. Fahmy and Blum, authors of Testing Priming Effects and Believing False Political Headlines and Discrediting Truthful Political Headlines, state and agree on the importance of priming oneself on the political nature and believability of each news source you read. Fahmy describes believability as fairness, bias, completeness, accuracy, and trustworthiness. When it comes to the media, each author and contributor holds the power to choose what information to share and what information to withhold, which determines what type of groups would label newscasters as believable. This has become especially prevalent with the emergence of single contributor podcasts, TikToks, and Instagrams like this one. Next time you watch a video pertaining to news stories, information, or polling, Jim Kuipers, author of Scientific Rhetoric, Kenneth Burke's The War on Words, tells the listener or reader to be conscious of selectivity, rhetoric of juxtaposition, and shock and scare tactics. Selectivity is the idea that facts are selected in conjunction with headlines to make them rhetorically effective, and done so in a way that gives possible interpretations. This has been shown through sound bites from politicians shrinking from an average of 40 seconds to today being just about 8 seconds. This coincides with the idea of rhetoric of juxtaposition, which was created by highly regarded author Kenneth Burke, and states that some facts in written or photographic form were brought in and others left out to realize editorial lean. Kuipers' idea of selectivity also makes the reader question how believable a source may be. When a source selects its information to appeal to a certain political group, Fahmy's idea of believability suggests that the group will find the source be more believable. However, if the information teeters from what is expected of a source, Fahmy, as well as Blum, suggests the reader will find it less believable because it no longer is validating their point of view. The idea of selectivity and purposeful rhetoric is key to why many news sources gain their political reputations and attract certain citizens who coincide with that ideology. This is threatening the power of conversation throughout the nation when people become too set on their own beliefs that continue to get reinforced each time they turn on their favorite news channel. Back to our initial examples, we can now tell that just in the headlines, the authors strategically selected how to word their articles in order to appeal to their intended audience. The rhetoric also immediately tells the reader what political themes will most likely be portrayed throughout the rest of the article. Like in the LA Times article, the author focused most of his time on instances when presidents defied the polls and specific inaccuracies polls can carry, whereas the Spectrum News article chooses to use more polls that validate their argument on issues that concern the public, such as the economy, wars, and immigration. Brookfield, author of Media Power and the Development of Media Literacy, validates this argument by posing the question of when news sites market their work as being important, relevant, newsworthy, and objective, who really are the ones determining this. Brookfield, as well as Overstreet, author of Writing at the Interviews, agree on the importance of media literacy, which is a new form of literacy that would help adults become more aware of the potential for political manipulation inherent in the mass media, particularly broadcasting and the press, which stem from the arguments made by Overstreet and Brookfield to prevent the tactics discussed by Blum, Fahmy, and Kuipers. Media literacy should be implemented into all writing classes as a new form of literacy education and way of understanding rhetorical choices. Ideas discussed by all 5 authors show the importance in not just identifying tactics the media uses, but also the implementation of educating yourself on the purpose of media literacy at protecting one's own opinions without the manipulation of mainstream media. The adaptation of media literacy education in schools could be the determinant between a freely thinking society and a conditioned public. These are the articles I used and a few key points and connections for your own future reference on the issue. You can take a screenshot, share with your friends, and leave a follow to keep learning more.